Yes, this is Coffee and Cookie with the Rabbi, Torah Moments. You are in the right place at the right time. And if you're here by accident, you're still in the right place at the right time. Do you ever have someone just really get your goat, just, and your anger rises, sometimes it's just rough. And I wonder, at least I used to, why does God permit anger? And then I realized that there were several times in the Bible God was angry. And if we're creating His image, that's going to happen to us also. And I don't think there's any really means of escaping it. Okay, well, I want to start with a verse this morning from Ephesians chapter 4, verses 26 and 27. Small, but you got to listen closely. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. Cookie, coffee, 3, 2, 1. Remember, if you leave it in too long, it'll snap off. Good stuff. Thank you, Sherry, for the coffee. Thank you, Jay Lee and Bob the Builder, for the cookies. They are my sponsors. My first sponsors. But anyway, let's talk. Be angry. Is that permission? Do you have permission to be angry? I think so. But the second part is, and do not sin. So what is the function and what is the purpose of being angry and do not sin? Well, first of all, angry is a motivator. Anger is supposed to move you, motivate you, go make something right. There are people who are angry at the government. And so now they're motivated to be involved in government, or they're motivated to go and vote, or whatever. Okay, we're angry about this. We're angry. Matter of fact, the whole blankety-blank country is angry about something. But sometimes it's good. Be angry, but sin not. Which means move that energy that's inside of you, that upheaval, and do something with it that is positive. You can be angry and not sin. You really can. Well, let's discuss anger for a moment, and then we'll come back to this do not sin. What happens when you're angry? Really, really, really angry. Did you know there's several people in the Bible died because of their anger? And so I look at it from a very biological perspective. You get angry, heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, and the more angry you get, the warmer you get, and all of a sudden start sweating protrusious, a whole lot. So what happens? You just wear yourself out. Anger is exhausting. Cool head is comfortable. Anger is bad. But nevertheless, what happens if I can take that very energy and direct it in a very positive sort of way? If you're a person who's angry about the whole abortion issue, okay, angry, then use it. Do something about it. Just don't sit there and stew in it. That's a mistake. That's a big, big mistake. If God gave us feelings and emotions, He gave us all those to direct us and to move us in various areas. Okay? But here's the problem with anger. People who don't know how to control, I didn't say dismiss, or get rid of, or cancel out, or make non-exist. They don't know how to control their anger. They don't know how to control themselves, quite frankly. And so when it says be angry but sin not, it means to be angry, to recognize something is not right, and to do something about it. But instead, we get all personal, get bothered, And next thing you know, we're yelling and shouting, we're screaming at people, and it's horrible. Horrible. You know what I mean? And we just look like a bunch of fools. He said fools. Yes, I did. You know, it happens to be a biblical term also. Check out your New Testament. But the whole point is that when we're angry, we're not supposed to be lashing out and beating up on people. You make me so mad, I couldn't help myself. I punched you in the face. Come on. Come on. You wanted to. Okay? And that's not the way to release anger. I've seen these poor situations where a couple will move in together, not married, and the guy gets all mad, starts punching holes in the wall. No, that is not a way to use the energy of anger. Now, let me tell you, there is a way to use it. That's to direct it towards something positive. When I get really mad, long-term mad, I clean. I'll go out in the garage, I'll straighten my tools, I'll wipe them down, I'll put them all in good order, I'll come in and take care of my own personal stuff, put it all in good order. You know, I'm using that upheaval of adrenaline in my life to do something positive. And if it's a spiritual matter, it will drive me to my knees to the point that I actually begin to pray. Lord God, would you please, and just on and on and on. We have to acknowledge that anger is part of the divine nature. Just like joy and love, peace, and patience. But unlike God, we don't control it. We unleash it. Unleashing your anger. Oh. And unfortunately, it's the people we love the most that take the biggest blunt of it. Even if there's only secondary. Even if it's not at them, they still wind up taking the blunt of it. This is good coffee. And that's a great cookie. I enjoy this time. But is it ungodly to be angry? Well, no. As I stated earlier, you're creating God's image, and we can find in the text of the Bible and the scriptures themselves where God had anger. And yet, completely in control. God didn't go all bonkers and crazy and weird. You know, it didn't happen. Just didn't happen. So, here's why we have to be careful. Be angry and do not sin. Sounds good. Don't let the sun go down on your wrath, which means there ought to be a time limit. Okay? I've seen people get angry, and they're angry for weeks and weeks and weeks. And you know what? Only they really suffer. Because that first couple of days, everybody else just moves away and blows them off after that. Until there's some sign of sanity returning. But it says, be angry, sin not. Do not let the sun go down in your wrath. And unfortunately, we don't let go of it because we're too busy hanging on to it. Because we're very righteous in our indignation. And this is sarcasm if you haven't caught on. There's such thing as righteous indignation. But I'm not sure I qualify for it. I can become upset over the broken commandments. I become upset over the broken promises of others. But I don't know if I have enough righteous indignation to strike back. Don't think so. But here's why we have to keep it limited. Okay? In other words, face it, deal with it, pray about it, let it go. Because in verse 27, nor give place to the devil. Now, I got news for you. In the modern religious world, the church and the synagogue, we don't accredit the devil for his deeds, his acts anymore, because that's so yesterday, so blasé. But yet, nevertheless, there is a personage, okay, the Satan, which by the way means adversary. There is the Satan who does promote himself within the context of our outrage and our emotion. Where do you think that final thrill comes from right before you punch somebody in the face? It comes from the devil. And how do I know it comes from the devil? Because the moment it's done, guilt sets in, not conviction. You blew your testimony, Michael. So you call yourself a rabbi. And no, I haven't punched anybody in the face recently. Oh, here we go. But nevertheless, think about it. In our anger, how many times we say stuff we wish we hadn't said? How many times we have to apologize for our actions? How many times we have to apologize for our speech or the things we said? A lot. A lot. Which tells me I am not in control, as I should be. So let's have a little test reality here. Think back, last 2 or 3 times you were angry. The reality of that anger. Did it benefit anything? Was the kingdom a profit from it? Okay. Did you resolve anything within yourself or within others? And by the way, an angry person can never win an argument. Because even if you are theoretically correct, you're already spiritually wrong. You can't win an argument while in anger. Can't be done. So, Rabbi Belinsky goes to Rabbi Rittenhouse. Rabbi Belinsky goes to Rabbi Rittenhouse, says, Rabbi Rittenhouse, please help me. I am so angry with my wife. I argue, I fight all the time. What do I do? And Rabbi Rittenhouse strokes his beard, checks the commentaries on the shelf, and says, what you need to do, my fellow rabbi, is when the argument begins, go take a whole mouthful of mouthwash. Make sure it's good mouthwash. And just hold it. Swish it around your mouth until it's all over. So, guess what? Rabbi Belinsky, what happens? Immediately, that fight starts at home, immediately goes to the cupboard, takes out the mouthwash up. Okay, on and on and on and on and on. And when it appears to be over, he goes and he spits it out. And he's amazed at his own attitude. He's amazed at himself. So he goes back to Rabbi Rittenhouse, and when he goes back, he says, Rabbi, why did that work? It worked, but why did it work? And Rabbi Rittenhouse says to Rabbi Belinsky, because you kept your mouth shut. How true is that? It's kind of hard for one person to argue with no one to argue against. Oh, you can always be blamed. That'll last for a short season. But let me tell you, my fellow male friends particularly, do not let your rage and your anger dominate you. Because when it dominates, it's no longer a tool from God. When the rage and the anger dominates, it's no longer part of the spiritual desire of the Lord. In fact, it becomes counterproductive as it works against the fruit of the Spirit. So anyway, be angry, but sin not. Now tonight on our program, Wake Up, we're going to see a little conversation taking place about wrestling with yourself. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Can you tell the difference? Do you know the difference? So it's going to be up for discussion tonight. So join us at 6 o'clock right here on Facebook or YouTube, whichever is your platform of choice, and see just how this plays out. Also, let me go ahead and remind you, hit the buttons, please. Like, share, follow, and donate. And if you would do that, it'll help us to grow. Now, last but not least, you are entitled, you are given a blessing. Walk in that blessing. Live under that blessing. Not that the rabbi has any power. He doesn't. Okay? But he is a voice commanded by God to speak. So, may the Lord bless you and keep you and cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may he lift up his countenance to you, and may he give you peace.